Hey guys, welcome to For the Story, the only podcast that's turned on by Shrek's dad bod. My name's Avery.
And I'm Ash. This week we watched The Land Before Time 6, The Secret of Saurus Rock.
Oh, is that a real one? I didn't know there were that many Land Before Time movies. Oh my god.
The most recent one was 2016.
Wait, really?
Land Before Time 9, Journey of the Brave.
Land Before Time 2016?
Do you want to know the plot synopsis?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Littlefoot's father, Bronn, fails to arrive with his herd. Soon word gets out he's trapped in the mysterious beyond, He's dead. This is about coping with death.
Yeah, for sure.
Urging the gang to set out on a quest to save him.
Aww.
Along the they encounter a new type of sharp tooth, and Littlefoot splits away from the others after an argument. When they realize
that's like the plot of every single Land Before Time movie. They all went like that, didn't they? They encounter a new type of sharp tooth, and they get in an argument and split up. There you go, right? Only without the death allegories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Necessarily. So we didn't watch that. We probably will never review a Land Before Time movie for you.
Yeah. Keep telling yourself that.
Please don't.
Okay.
No. Oh God. Yeah, I could see it happening. I'm not against it, I guess. But no, we watched something completely different. We are in the process of doing a 2-for like Jordan Peele deal, if you know what I mean. We watched Get Out. We also watched Us this past weekend, and we're going to talk about both of those movies separately for you. We're doing Get Out first, and then we're going to talk about Us on Thursday. I believe that episode's going to come to you guys. So coming up soon. Yeah. What?
I don't know what I'm doing, man. We sure did. Let's get into what we watched this week. Let's try and hit this off quick.
Yeah,
I got one.
Did I already talk to you about The Dirt? Or because we had to redo this this podcast. We started it yesterday. We were having connection issues, so we had to completely start over. I think I talked about it then. But I watched The Dirt, the Motley Crue documentary. Everyone's talking about it right now because it sucks. It's not very good.
To no one's fucking surprise.
Yeah, like the thing is like I find that a lot of the events seem extremely hyperbolized, and there's a prevalence of what seems like glamorization of drug use. And
good. Drugs are fun, kids. Steal your dad's stash.
Don't do that. Don't do drugs, kids. See, that's the thing, is that's what Motley Crue's telling you. They're like, do drugs and puke on strippers or whatever. Like, that's like their message, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could have just listened to their music and gotten that.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't have to see the Netflix movie. It's like they have such weird casting choices. Machine Gun Kelly plays Tommy Lee. I
feel like they have him on retainer, where they're just like, who do we need to like call a woman a bitch?
Yeah, exactly, right? Because he'll do it.
Yeah, he'll do it. No fucking question.
Yeah, and he actually wasn't even. He was like some of the better parts of that movie too, which is like almost like terrible to say. Some of the other actors that they chose, it's just like what I like people I'd never recognized before. That they were not believable as Motley Crue, and instead of like creating unique visual sequences, they just like recreated things that you've already seen Motley Crue do in music videos or in like photographs. They just redid it. Like they recreated a section of a music video rather than show the music video. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
This is my complaint about literally fucking Bohemian Rhapsody.
You know what? I think that's the only reason that The Dirt exists, is because Bohemian Rhapsody was so successful.
Like, you know that band everyone likes, Queen?
Yeah.
Let's do one where the Ash can't even name a song by. Bicycle. That one's them right now.
Yes,
Queen?
that's that. Actually, that was Motley Crue.
Yeah, Motley Crue. Your Honor.
It's so weird. Like, I was a fan of Motley Crue when I was in high school. I took them seriously because I was like,
it's pretty old to like Motley Crue.
Yeah, right. I never claimed I was progressive as a child. I was clearly lagging behind. No, but I mean, like, I thought they were fun when I was like young. I was like 15.
Believe it or not, Avery was not a woke 15-year-old.
Yeah, go figure. I don't think any 15-year-olds are woke. I mean, maybe nowadays kids
now
are fucking
woke.
programming and shit in high school. That's a thing, right? They do that anyway. So yeah, it's like I liked Motley Crue when I was young enough to like think that them just like her, like, I don't know, harming women was like, oh my God, see what's happening here. Harming women was like cool, I guess. Like it seems like really terrible now. Like some of the things that they did, it is really misogynistic and not awesome, but they like brag about it. And that's why I think a lot of it is hyperbolized, because they want you to think they're cooler than they actually are. But I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed like a whole bunch of bullshit the entire movie did, but maybe it's all true. Who knows? You're right. Could be. Anyway, yeah. So go ahead, watch The Dirt. It's on Netflix. You'll fall asleep, or you won't, because the music's really loud too. So, yeah.
And then next thing you know, the girl that you're sleeping with is injecting heroin and codeine into your urethra.
Yeah, they
with a needle
into your urethra.
Hey, you know.
Yeah, hey man.
Don't
gotta get my fix, bitch.
Yikes.
Yeah, right.
Your Honor.
Yeah, exactly.
Avery gave that child drugs on accident. He thought it was
cool
candy.
I thought it was cool.
He thought it was cool. Mine, at least, he like had an out. Oh, I thought it was this candy I was holding on to. Just giving candy to children. No. It's like, kids,
this is cool.
You're gonna be so rad.
You're gonna be so fucking cool, kids. Watch this movie.
Watch this movie, do these drugs, and you're gonna be nickel, bro.
Hey, yo. And he's so fucking nickel. More like nickel 6, because Nikki 6. And anyway,
thanks for stepping on yourself on that one.
That was so bad. It was like the first thing that came to mind. I was like, that's bad. I'm gonna say it anyway.
Yeah.
So Ash,
let's start a band. I want my name to be Nikki 7. Fuck it.
All right. Yeah. I want to be Angle Grinder. How about
Angus Grinder?
Angus Grinder.
It's like a hamburger themed guy.
like the cold cuts. Angus beef.
Which fast food place makes Angus beef burgers?
An Angus Grinder. It sounds like a 2-for-1 Angus Grinders at Burger King, right?
Yeah, or just like you're at like Pottery Barn or Sur la Table, and they're like, yeah, we have a brand new Angus grinder. It's like, oh, can you use it for normal beef? And they're like, no.
Angus grinder.
Angus only. Where do you even buy Angus beef?
I don't know. I think it's just like a name that's attached to beef. Like, it all seems like it's just like a placebo, doesn't it?
Sounds like it's like made by a specific like group of men who are all named Angus and meet in like the basement of a bar
Angus
2 times a year.
Yeah.
It's like guys with weird meat-based personalities.
Well, you can have a beer personality.
I'm umami.
Yeah. You can have a beer personality. Don't you know that guy that's just like the beer guy? You know what I mean? And he knows his beers. That's his thing. That was like
I don't believe any of those people.
When he turned 25, he chose his subclass to be beer guy.
Yeah, and I'm just like poking out his stomach. I'm like, I don't know if I buy it. They're like, oh yeah, it's like super malty, and I'm like, you don't know what malt is. You've never had malt.
Malt is really good. It's like you can just eat the malts. I hang out at this brewery sometimes, and they just have malts everywhere.
Yeah,
and they're like, get a handful and
get a schmaltz of malt.
Yeah, you get a little schmaltz of malts. And you're just chewing them. They're really good. They're like kind of sweet. But yeah. Anyway. What did you see, Ash? Anything interesting?
I rewatched a live performance that's available on Netflix called "Oh, Hello."
Well, oh. What
have you
is
heard
it?
of this?
I have not heard of this.
Okay, so these are two characters played by John Mulaney and Nick Kroll of just very elderly Jewish men who are somewhat senile.
That's great. I can't believe I haven't seen this yet.
It started out on Nick Kroll's show, The Kroll Show, and they did this show called Too Much Tuna, which was a prank show they had where they would give a friend of theirs or a celebrity a sandwich with far too much tuna on it.
Okay.
And that was like the introductory sketch.
All right.
It's Gil Faizon and George St. And so it's like a whole live show of them doing shtick, and they just played these elderly Jewish men from like the Upper East Side, and it's amazing.
Oh my God. Okay.
What's
it's called
Oh
Hello.
It's an hour and 42 minutes, and it's like stand-up meets sketch meets like it's pretty incredible. Just their pacing, they're like doing lines back and forth, and there's not a fucking breath of air in the whole fucking show. It's incredible. Oh, hello.
Yeah. John Mulaney and Nick Kroll are two pretty popular comedians right now. They're gonna go far.
I love them.
It's good to hear. Yeah, I wrote that down. I'm gonna watch that at some point. That sounds really good.
So funny, dude.
That sounds really,
and then
really funny.
I rewatched Ex Machina.
Oh,
a great movie.
Yeah, that movie's pretty fucking solid.
It's really fucking solid.
Yeah. Who was in that? Oh my God, was Joaquin Phoenix in that? That wasn't Joaquin Phoenix, was it?
No, it was
Oscar Isaac. It was Oscar Isaac. Yeah.
Cheapo.
Yeah. Basically, discount Joaquin Phoenix. And then like one of the Weasley brothers or something, right?
No, he just kind of looks like him.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, unless he's one of the older Weasley brothers.
I think he's one of the older Weasley brothers, isn't that?
Domhnall Gleeson.
I think he's one of the. How do you spell his name?
Domhnall. Gleeson with 2 E's.
Yeah. I think
he's like
is.
Charlie.
He was also in what was the name of the movie where he's like in a band and he grows a really shitty beard?
The Dirt.
Oh, Frank. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in Frank. What else was he in? Maybe he wasn't. Oh, he was in Star Wars Episode 8. Well, he was in The Last Jedi. He was in. Shit, I think this is one of the Weasley brothers. Yeah, he is.
Charlie
Weasley?
Weasley?
He's Bill Weasley.
Oh, he's Bill. He's the one who works with dragons.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I think he's fucking Tonks, dude.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want to be fucking Tonks?
Right?
I don't know if that means anything.
So yeah, okay. So he's been in some good stuff. Ex Machina. He plays Caleb. Wow, that came out in that movie's been out for a while.
Oh yeah, it's a really solid movie though.
Yeah, it is.
I really like. I first saw it in college, and then I hadn't watched it since, and it was.
Yeah. One more? I was gonna say, like, one more. Yeah, that was definitely a solid film. Yeah, man, I haven't watched that in a while. I kind of forgot about it. But totally some good stuff. I'm gonna watch that. Oh, hello, for sure.
Oh, dude, you got it. Yeah. It's like, even if you don't watch the whole thing, if you watch the first 20 minutes, you got it, and it's like
cool.
You get like, this is awesome. This is great.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll probably watch it like all the way through. But here we go. We talked about Get Out, or we watched Get Out. I watched it for the first time. Asher, I'm assuming you rewatched it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and
saw it for the first time in theaters.
See, I didn't. I missed it the first time around. But it's making my pros section because I saw it in a very diverse crowd, and getting to see how the black people reacted and the white people reacted very differently to very specific things. Interesting.
Was kind of cool. Yeah. And like, I think that was part of why this was such a cultural phenomenon. It won, I think, Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars.
Which it so deserves, by the way. Oh my God, is the screenplay good for this movie. It's so good.
Can we get a quick guess on the budget for this film?
Oh, dude, probably pretty cheap. It didn't seem like it had a huge... I'm going to say probably less than 20 million.
You are correct. Mm-hmm. You want to give a more direct guess? Just name a number.
8 to 10 million?
5 million.
5 million? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Its cumulative worldwide gross, $255 million.
That's such a huge profit margin.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I wonder what Us is by comparison. I'm really curious.
it got a huge opening weekend. It wasn't quite as big as like Captain Marvel, but it was pretty big.
Probably pretty close, right?
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Budget. I bet you the budget for Us was higher.
Oh yeah, they threw cash at him.
Yeah.
71 million.
Jeez, for real? It was 71 million?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Second best opening of 2019. Better opening. Oh, it's slightly worse opening than Halloween though.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Halloween, I don't know why that movie ended up doing so well. I found it to be pretty middle of the road.
Maybe it was finally time for a new one, but I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been that too. It's a possibility. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. When it comes to Get Out, that $5 million is such a that's like a no budget movie. Like that's so small, and they managed to see that's what happens when you have somebody who works on something really hard for a long time, like Jordan Peele did, it seems, and finally puts out something that he's really passionate about and he's really working on really hard. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, you end up with something that's really well written, especially because he's been writing comedy and all sorts of things for a long time. He's definitely part of what I want to talk about today.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can definitely get into that. So what did you heard about this movie? Because I know you just saw it for the first time.
Yes.
What kind of mentality did you have going towards it? I don't know.
I remember when it came out and it had absolutely stellar reviews. I was expecting to like this movie, to be honest. But
you fucking
yeah.
troll.
I expected that I was gonna go into it without knowing. Honestly, I can't even say I didn't know very much. I knew a lot about what happened in this movie. It was spoiled to me several times by several different people. I hadn't seen any real scenes from it, with the exception of a little bit at the beginning. But and because I had tried to watch it and then something came up and I had to drop it for whatever reason. But I was expecting to really like this movie. And I was expecting, on top of that, to what ended up surprising me was the quality of the dialogue. And
I don't know. I mean, this kind of launched what's his face's career. Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah, the lead actor, right?
Mm-hmm. And then Allison Williams is always really good. And then Lil Rel, who now has his own TV show, Rel.
Does he really?
Also great. Yeah.
Lil Rel Howery was Rod. He was my favorite character.
Yeah, he was kind of the breakout character.
Yeah.
Although I liked Allison Williams because her arc is disturbing.
Yeah, really, really dark. And we'll get into
creepy.
that. That is one of the best. It's so
Twist.
fucking good. It's so good.
That scene is by far the best scene in the movie.
Yeah,
oh my God. Just the moment. Oh.
So going into this movie for you, what were you expecting? And you can give me two answers to this. You can give me what you were thinking as you were going into the theater, or also on a rewatch. It's up to you.
Okay. So when I first went to the theater, I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew Get Out. I'm like Jordan Peele. One of my favorite sketches of all time is from Key and Peele, where which one? I think it's Peele. Or no. Key comes to the door dressed as Michael Jackson for a Halloween party and is doing a really bad Michael Jackson impression.
Okay.
And then he keeps breaking away from actually doing Michael Jackson and does weird things like grabbing his ass and weird stuff. And Jordan Peele's just being the straight man, just being dude, he doesn't do that. All right, enough of the shamones. Come on, just come inside. And it's eventually it just comes to this boiling point, and Jordan Peele goes, okay, quit it with the fucking bad Michael Jackson impression. It's so disrespectful since he died. And then Michael Key pulls down his sunglasses and goes, he died? And so ever since I've seen that,
oh, that's so good.
And then he sad moonwalks away.
That's so good. That's so fucking good.
So I knew him as a comedy guy. I really hadn't seen anything about this movie. I was kind of blown away. But the second time watching, I came out of Us, and I was like, pretty sure I like Get Out more than Us. And I went back and I watched Get Out, and I reached whatever conclusion I reached, which we'll talk about next episode.
Yes, definitely.
In a little more detail.
Big part,
so there's definitely some comparisons to be made.
Oh yeah, a big part of what we want to discuss between Get Out and Us is how they're compared, because there are a lot of comparisons, but we should save that when we do our review for Us, because I think that's important to have that info too. Also, it's kind of important that everybody sees the movie before we launch the review so quickly. So
absolutely.
But so on that note, let's talk about some pros, and there's just a lot. There's a lot of
this is a very good movie.
Yeah, it's really, really extremely well executed. And I think down to technical levels too, the cinematography is good, the soundtrack is good, even some of the no-name music, because I think there are a couple poppier hits, actual songs in here, but some
the Childish Gambino I think's on it.
Yeah, and I don't know what that intro song is. It sounds like African singing of some kind that I don't really know a lot about, but it's the intro music as they're driving, I think, or something right at the beginning of the movie that's really haunting and quite beautiful and pulls you right in. And all of everything has this really shiny, clear look to it. It looks very modern, and it looks very beautiful and very well framed.
Yeah, it looks almost like it's going through a fucking Snapchat filter, but in in a good way, not in a Latin way.
It looks like it's touched up, but it's just it's probably not. It almost looks like it's not color corrected. It looks too real. I don't even know how to describe it really. It just
it looks clear. Like how life looks in rural Maine.
Yes, in real life. Very, very beautiful. The set, that house that they got for the set is probably the most gorgeous house I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah. And just great property.
Yeah.
And even just starting out, how they kind of captured the New York-y kind of apartment feel.
Very much, yeah.
I don't know. Everything about it, it's a very pretty movie first and foremost.
Yes. Very, and it doesn't have to resort to using extravagant visual spectacle to achieve that either, which is just even more technically well honed, which I think is really great. Yeah, for sure. Also, yeah, man, this movie just looks really good.
It does.
The night
it lives
scenes,
up to the hype for sure.
For sure. All of the night scenes are really well balanced with color. They're dark and they're black, but they use blues correctly, and it's lit well, so you can see everything that's happening, and shadow is used well. Yeah.
A lot of problems that you run into, I always use Luke Cage as an example, fucking Mike Coulter, he's a black man. He is very dark skinned, and you can't really see what's going on at night. But in this movie, they made it work really well because of the tone that they sent. Because there are a lot of nighttime scenes where it's just black people popping up out of the dark.
One that I'm thinking
that one
of
Running Man
specifically, which is such it gives me chills, because you don't see that guy. I don't know. It's a scene in the middle of the movie after they get to Allison Williams, who is Daniel Kaluuya's girlfriend. They go to visit her parents, who are very, very white people. And Daniel Kaluuya's
the Armitages.
The Armitages, that's their name. The whitest fucking name ever.
Yeah, it's not even real, but you're ooh, that a white ass name.
Basically things are awry. And their parents seem like nice people, but they keep saying not necessarily it seems like they might be racist and not know it, I think is part of what it is. And also they're saying really odd shit, commenting on his physique and all this weird, uncomfortable things that are just making him uncomfortable.
It's the weird thing where it's I used to work at this place shout out to the hummus stop where
Hell yeah.
it was like 19 and like slinging hummus for a summer job at farmers markets, and the bosses were Tunisian and like Muslim, and they found out I was Jewish, and they kept being like, oh, like I love Jews, like we're cousins. But then like I'm like, oh cool, man, like that's tight. And then they would say it every time I fucking talk to them. And I'm like, oh, like you don't love the Jews.
Yeah. Oh, yikes. Oh, weird. Oh my God. That's so
That's kind of how it
uncomfortable.
felt. It's like where it's like they act like they like black people so much that it's like you don't though,
Yeah,
do you?
like, you actually
like it's
don't.
like you.
It's
very like a very specific things you like about black people that are just still super stereotypes.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so uncomfortable. Because that's how it was. It was like things like it's really highlighted when Chris Washington, who's Daniel Kaluuya's character, is talking to Rose Armitage's, who's his girlfriend, that's Allison Williams, talking to her dad, and he's like, I would have voted for Obama for a third term.
He's like, great.
It's like, okay.
He's like, I voted for Nader. Like that's basically the look that he gave him.
Yeah.
And like the brother's the most overt one.
Oh my God, it's so like
From the
gross. And the way he talks, he's like just like something's off there. It's so creepy.
And the family's just like oh, here he goes again, little Jeremy Armitage. Like
wrestle him to the ground or something like that. It's like, dude, like
I want to wrestle you. Your people are so athletic. It's like, oh,
like what a gross
Jesus.
thing to say to somebody. And oh God, that's so like that whole scene when they're talking at that table like gave me the chills. I was like, there's something really weird going on here. But some of the like most effective parts are when he meets the caretakers for the ground. There's one woman who is like, I guess she's a stewardess or something along those lines, and she's like pouring iced tea for them and stuff like that. Georgina's her name, yeah. And then there's was she in Black Mirror in the Space Force episode or whatever? Do you know what I'm talking about? I think
it's not Betty Grable. It's Betty Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Let me see. She was an Upgrade.
She was an Upgrade.
She was in The Purge election year.
Okay. She just looks really familiar. I feel like she was in
Westworld.
Yeah, maybe she's not who I was thinking of.
Good Girls Revolt.
She has a lot of really cool. The Spine of the Night and Human Capital. Wow, unique titles. But there's another caretaker, like a groundskeeper. Walter is his name. Yeah, I forgot. Who was just so fucking batshit weird. Like, Chris goes to talk to him, and he's just like, Chris is like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" And or what are you doing, man? And he's like, "Nothing."
Are you talking about the Running Man?
Yes.
Or are you because there's also Andre, who's also Keith, who's the guy with the hat.
Yeah, but that's not until like their relatives come later the next day. This is still the first night.
Pseudo clan meeting.
Yeah, so fucking weird. But Walter, like, Chris goes outside in like the middle of the night. I think he thinks about going for a cigarette or something like that, which is a recurring thing.
Yeah.
That her parents keep bringing up. But he's standing out there just like in the dark, and Walter comes running out of the dark out of nowhere. And this is one of those moments when the darkness is just used so effectively because you don't see this guy until he's like feet from the camera. It's incredible how good it is. And it's like fucking terrifying. Like, because you don't hear him coming, you don't see him coming, and then he's just there. That made me jump, and I was just watching on my computer screen. Like, it was great. Effective. Yeah,
that became a meme too.
Did it
where
really?
Just like LeBron James would like run at the camera, and then it's just like basically you run at the camera with like super exaggerated arm motions, and then turn at the last minute. And like fucking celebrities were doing it, and I'm like, okay,
that I didn't know that was like a meme. That's kind of fun. Yeah,
it was like the ice bucket challenge, but for
the running at the camera challenge.
Yeah,
the Get Out.
It was called the Running Man Challenge.
Yeah, so crazy. It was like, whoa. Like, that was like such a good decision, like a really creative, technically proficient decision that like was super effective.
And also like it helped that that guy's body type was like terrifying dad bod.
Yeah, right? Because he looked like
he like looked stacked.
Yeah,
like the linebacker.
Yeah, so that was a great effective thing. And shortly after that, Chris goes back inside and meets up with Rose's mother, who hypnotizes him and puts him in the sunken place. Maybe you should talk about that. I have a lot of thoughts on this.
In terms of like what it means, or
yeah, I think I understand what it means. They put you at the back of their mind. So let's not get into the spoiler just yet. The twist, but
so yeah, because like I mean I guess you can't really discuss it without the twist very effectively. But it's essentially like you are a passenger in your own body and not in control, and you're like watching everything like it's through a screen as opposed to through your own eyes and making your own decisions. And he wakes up the next day and thinks that he was hypnotized.
Thinks it's all a dream, because he wakes up in his own bed. And then that's when he talks to Walter the next day, thinking that was all just a dream. You know, he's like, must have had a weird dream, or I think Rose said that to him or something. And he talks to Walter, and Walter's like, sorry, I scared you last night, basically confirming like that was not a dream. Yeah, and which is just creepy and weird. And that's when the family members show up. I think shortly
is
after
it family
that.
members, or is it just like their club?
I think it's some family members, and then I think it's like wealthy locals and other things like that. Like it's like a club too. Yeah, and they're all saying like such bizarre things to him. Like they're all commenting on his physique and like touching him and stuff, and like just acting like total weirdos. And that's when he meets Andre, which is another amazingly effective scene.
The way they greet each other, he goes in for the you know, give
like
him
a
daps,
handshake.
and the other guy goes in for a handshake, and he's like, that actor is kind of an interesting guy. He actually he was Snoop Dogg in Straight Outta Compton.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool guy. He was really good as Snoop Dogg.
Awesome.
He's a really good Snoop Dogg, but yeah, no, his character is probably one of my favorites, and like you kind of recognize it, but also don't. I think that this movie plays really well to like, especially for a white audience, like your inability, like your subtle, like internalized racism of like, I can't tell the difference, but it's like, it's the guy from the beginning of the movie, and that doesn't become clear until,
oh my God, I didn't even put that together.
They play with the darkness. Don't get me wrong. Like they definitely use the nighttime thing to make it more obscure.
I almost
also
forgot about that
like,
opening scene. Holy shit, was it good?
It was really good. And this was a moment in my when they like pan up to his face in my theater, all the black people like going ooh, and all the white people being like, what, did I miss something?
Shit,
explain me the movie.
I missed that. Oh my God.
Like, and that's how I realized it. I'm like, because I wouldn't have realized it if like, and I'm just like, oh shit, like,
so you know what that
I like
means?
this movie. It makes you notice things about
that
yourself.
The guy who captures Andre at the beginning of the movie is probably Walter in a mask, right?
Walter, or
that's why he's running
the
up to
guy
him
who
like
was
that.
who you know, Keith Stanfield, the guy who he is but isn't.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, it might have been him too.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Wow.
So he sends the photo of the guy over to Rel, but as he takes the photo, they have this really great moment where he becomes like painfully lucid and starts screaming at him, "Get out, get out, get out!"
Yeah,
you know, really like
after his eyes glaze over, and I think like his wife, who by the way is like 20 years older than him and an old
at
woman.
Least.
Yeah. Like she's like, oh, he just had an epileptic seizure. Not that the Flash maybe knocked somebody back from the sunken place.
No, that's not how that works.
Definitely not that. And so basically that's the thing. So the movie progresses, and eventually, I think it's later, Chris is in the room that he's sharing with Rose, or like Rose's childhood room or something. And this is really when the big twist of the movie happens. He's going through at the beginning of the movie. There's a little bit of dialogue where Rose explains that Chris is the first black man she's ever been with. But Chris finds in her room a stack of photographs of her with something like, there's like at least 10 other black men that she's been with.
Like only black men.
Yeah, like almost like she's only been with black men.
And I think one of them's like one that he's seen amongst the African American people that are on the property currently.
One is Stanfield, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Andre. Yeah.
Yeah. One of them is Andre. And so he's like, oh my God, this is getting too fucking weird. And I'm pretty sure that's when the family like corners him and he gets like pretty much ready for this procedure.
Well, no, they have the amazing scene on the staircase.
Okay.
Where he's like asking, he's like, you know, fucking, what's his face? The father is like, just like fucking monologuing about like God and shit. And he's just like, Rose, where are the keys? Rose, find the goddamn keys.
Yeah, that's
and then
so
she just
good.
like,
that's after,
like,
right after he sees the photographs. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, she just like, you know, it keeps going and going and going until it gets to her head. And then just like the sound cuts out and she pulls out the keys, very dead face, and goes, you know, I can't give you the keys, right, babe?
Like,
he's just like so defeated.
He knows that's what's going on, like that he's being set up here, and she's like playing it off until she just doesn't have to anymore. She's like,
yeah,
you know, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, and it's just the how she goes from just playing panicked with him to just completely dead-eyed like the rest of these fucking freaks. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. Really, really, really well executed, really well lit. It's another one of those things where they use the darkness where you think it's just like him and I think like the mom or something you see at first, but then you see out of like the shadows creeps the dad and then the brother, and it's just like this whole family has him surrounded. Like he's gonna be captured is basically the idea. Fucking crazy. And
then they have the really creepy scene of fucking Allison Williams sitting in all white, eating Cheerios or like Fruit Loops and drinking milk, but it's like separate.
Wait, what? I don't remember that part. Yeah. I must have missed that.
It's totally terrifying. Oh my God. It's kind of what I like to do.
Yeah. So basically this entire time this is happening, Chris's good friend Rod is attempting to get a hold of him.
TSA.
Yeah.
He's TSA.
Yeah, he's TSA. And he's the one who recognizes, what's the character's name again? Stanfield?
Okay, so that's apparently the actor's name, Andre King.
Okay, Andre King.
Went missing, yeah.
Right. He recognizes the photo of him like, hey, this guy's been gone forever, but Chris has been telling him like a whole bunch of weird shit's going on. These people are fucking weird. Rod finally, after a while, isn't able to get a hold of him anymore. And that's pretty much.
He thinks they're doing like a sex slave cult thing.
Yeah, which like you would think. You wouldn't think the actual truth of them swapping people's brains into other bodies. Like you wouldn't jump to that. You would think like this person's going to get abducted and tortured or something. Yeah, and so which is kind of basically what's happening. But so there's a really like unique scene. It almost feels like fantasy when he's brought into the armchair in like the living room or in the hypnosis room.
Yeah, in the basement.
Yeah, and there's like the TV there, and it's saying like the thing about the Armitages, and then he talks directly to like the grandfather. I think is his name Dean? Is it? Yeah, it's Dean Armitage. I think played by Bradley Whitford. I think that's him.
No, that's the father.
Oh, that is the father. Then it's one of maybe it's Walter. I think it might be Walter. No, not Walter. It's one of these characters. It's one of the white people who comes by and it basically explains like we swap brains. We're gonna put my brain into your
Roman Armitage.
Roman Armitage. Which I think is like their grandfather or something.
Mm-hmm. And that's like who's in.
And he's blind and he just wants to be able to see. He says like, I just want your eyes, man. It's like very dreamlike. But he does something. I think he like stuffs cotton.
The eye of a photographer.
Yeah. He stuffs cotton in his ears or something, which prevents him from hearing the hypnosis, and he's able to escape. And that's when he just kills everybody in the family.
Yeah, he like fucking runs over Rose and like all kinds of shit.
Yeah, all sorts of crazy shit happens, and he steals somebody's car, drives off, and that's when he's rescued by Rod. Yeah, which is
pretty
great.
simple. But now that we know the twist, which is that these people are essentially using young black men and women to kind of sterilize their fantasies, especially from like, because they have this very I guess like almost I guess the term is race realism, where you're like, certain races have certain traits that are innate because skin color and
like
physique are related or
that's
whatever.
Where all those like awkward comments come from the family members. I thought that was just like disgusting. It was like, it made my skin crawl. They were like grabbing his arms. It's weird
and how much the things that have been pointed out in this movie have become not okay socially and like woke spheres since this movie. It's like kind of crazy.
Jordan Peele did a great job bringing to light issues that probably many black Americans face.
Already face.
And like put it in a relatable format so people can be like, hey, these things that you do that you think aren't racist are actually pretty racist.
And it's a whole thing about like, we kind of talked about it. One thing that I wanted to point out from like my experience seeing it in the theater was probably one of the best parts is when when Rod pulls up, it looks like a cop car.
Yeah.
And
so he's like, great. You know?
Yeah. Well, okay. No, but in the theater, the white people are going, oh, yes, yes, yes. And all the black people are like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Like, because there's a dead white woman.
Yeah.
And actually, the alternate ending originally was like him talking to Rod through like the police phone and being like basically checking in with him. And he's like, man, I'm glad I killed some of them. I wish I could have killed more. Like, that was how it was originally supposed to end. Like, a lot more grim.
Wow.
Yeah. But, God, there's like so many weird, like just even, we didn't even talk about, there's a whole scene where they're like bidding for him.
Oh yeah. Like a
slave auction.
That stuff again made my fucking skin crawl. And he was there like in the house and just like, they did it. They didn't even care if he noticed. They did it outside in the yard. It was like so like bizarre. Gazebo. They had like a picture of him that they put up there. Fucking oh my god, it was deplorable. And you're supposed to hate those people. Like clearly it's like a very effective tool for making when you have characters that have a fucking slave auction in your movie, like they're pretty much set up for being deplorable fucking people. Yeah.
And for me it was also like, because they're all like rich white dudes, for me it was like a metaphor for like ways in which like black people are still owned in like the way our society, like I thought a lot about like sports and like drafting and stuff, because like when you like NBA players make a lot of money, sure, they don't make as much as owners, and there are like
it's true
2 owners out of 30 who are not white. Like, and so it's like, and same thing with like football. Like those are essentially like people owned for their physical traits by other people. And they're white people and other races who are in the NFL. And that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is like, there are still ways in which the physical bodies of black people are controlled and it's socially acceptable. And that's what I got from it. And I'm doing a lot of finger quotations you can't see.
It's definitely
I just thought it was interesting.
It's a very interesting message, and I got that impression too. It really made me think about how I behave, like it made me think like there's probably things that I do that I'm not even realizing that I'm doing, and that made me feel pretty uncomfortable. And I think one thing that Jordan Peele did so good, so properly and effectively was deliver that concept. Like there are things you do that you don't even know are racist in a movie that was good and enjoyable and completely potable without making people try to feel like guilty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like that's really all you like. That's what you should come away when people like, this is a thing that was very effective about this movie that a lot of people aren't effective at. And when they're discussing race, which is like, guess what? Like we all do racist shit. The question is can you make yourself aware of it without being all defensive and shitty about it?
And that's the problem, is that when you try to like be like, you can't do these things, you can't be racist, a lot of people don't like being told what to do. And so they're going to lash out and probably like move in the opposite direction you want them to move. But if you can
just
like
dig their heels in.
If you can give them, like Jordan Peele did, give them an enjoyable film saying like, this is actually how we feel. Here's a character that you're going to relate with, and now you can understand the concept by relating to it. That is a much more effective way. And I came out of it thinking like, man, I probably do racist things and don't even realize it. But also I came out of it thinking like, maybe I'll be a little bit more conscious of that in the future, because I didn't feel like I was being told I was a bad person necessarily, or being told that I was, I mean, it is wrong and it isn't a good thing to do, but I didn't feel accused. I felt like enlightened. Right?
Yeah, it gave you kind of a perspective that allowed you to go and take control of your own.
Yeah, very
life.
good.
And,
really effective message. Jordan Peele, God damn it, he's got a way with screenwriting.
Yeah,
what a good way.
No, it's really quite incredible.
Yeah, wrote such relatable and like interesting characters. Rose was fucking evil.
Oh yeah,
just an
Allison
evil
Williams
person.
So good.
Yeah. Oh my god.
More than,
it was so
just
well
because she
sold.
played the part so well,
and it was
for like almost all the movie.
Yeah, and it's like all of it was so well sold until the very end, and then she just like goes dead in the face, like you said. It's like, holy shit, this whole time.
That scene,
and when like
that's my favorite scene.
It makes my skin crawl seeing like the pictures of her with all those other like black men. It's like, oh my god, like she's a fucking liar. Yeah, and he was probably thinking the same thing too. It's like, oh man, like something dark is going on here. So fucking good. So good. Like, so good. This movie does such an excellent job at like leaving like a trail of crumbs for you to follow to like just like eerie vibes, the creepy things people are saying, and then like really fucked up shit you're seeing, and it just like leads you up to this mystery, and then finally when it's solved you're like, what the fuck? Really great movie.
So the meaning of the sunken place.
Yeah.
That was another thing I wanted to talk about, because that's kind of because like there are a lot of like, he's even answered it, but I don't like doing that. I don't like seeing I like to talk about what people mean by their metaphors. What do you think the metaphor of the sunken place was about? I
think it was like some kind of hindbrain activity, because I think one thing they say during that, it's very expository but effective exposition when he's talking to the guy on the TV. But I think the idea is that they leave a little bit of the brain stem to control all the motor functions, and then they hook the white person's brain up into the body. And I think basically what it is, it's like all of your consciousness and everything is still there, but now you have to watch somebody. And I think the idea is like it's a hypnosis state. It's just a state of non-being where you get to see things, but you don't get to interact with the world. Kind of like the movie Being John Malkovich. Have you ever seen that? Because this movie reminded me of that a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you think it signified in terms of race? What do you think that his point was? Because like that's like, because like if I was to give this movie a con, I would say that the sunken place, maybe save that for another movie. Like it didn't necessarily serve the purpose. Like it was scary, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I think it served the purpose of the movie enough to like display what happens to you. And she like shows him a little bit, like sees if she's Rose's mother. What's her name? She was actually the woman who played Rose's mother was in Being John Malkovich, by the way.
Oh, that's probably what.
Yeah. But maybe that's why I'm thinking of that movie subconsciously. But I think her purpose there was to see if he was capable of being hypnotized, like that first time. But I think it was probably supposed to be a little shocking and scary the first time they show it to you without having too deep of a meaning. But maybe and by no means am I a race expert. I don't want to be the kind of person who's going to claim that. The impression that I got is maybe that people feel like they're set back from reality and like hopeless to be able to control these impressions that people get of them preconceived. That perhaps black people may feel like these white people are going to act this way regardless of how good of a person I am or not. I'm unable to control your perception of me. I think that was the message that I got. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Mine's a little different, which is great. That just goes to show that Jordan Peele makes you think.
Yeah, right. This movie made me think so much. So good. I love movies like that.
So for me, like a big theme of this movie was like the idea of like acting black or acting white.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, The Sunken Place was like, because like the point that Jordan Peele I think was trying to make with this movie is that like acting white or acting black is like not what matters. It's quality of character. And the whole Sunken Place is the idea of burying your innate blackness, as it were.
Oh, okay. Right.
And then such that a white individual can take
I really
reins.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you can appear to fit in with all these other people even though you're not really present.
Yeah, you're not really present. And like the idea that, you know, the idea of acting black is of less value in the context of a society or this social circle.
Okay.
And just, I thought that kind of reflected back on like when he tries to do the fist bump, the other guy tries to do the handshake.
Right.
It's the idea of
yeah,
like,
right. Yeah.
Like over assimilation kind of like, that's what I mean, if it didn't have such a good metaphor, I wouldn't like The Sunken Place. I just could have seen it being a great movie without it, but that was what I got out of it.
I like that a lot.
And
like,
honestly, what I was expecting from Us
was a better social message.
no, because I thought, because I saw that there were the two copies, I thought it was going to be like a white acting double versus black acting double. That's what I was expecting from the commercials.
Well, I have an opinion about Us that I really want to save for our Us episode, because I think I see what he was trying to go for with the copies, and one was the fortunate copy and one was the unfortunate copy. And I think it reflects a lot of things in American society today, but I don't know if it was intentional or if just what I read, but I want to talk about that in our Us episode, because that's a pretty, if there is a metaphor in that movie, I think it's that. And I think, I think it was done effectively in that regard, and then there was a whole bunch of fluff in Us, but we can talk about that when we get to
snuffle fluff in Us.
Yeah, right. There was definitely a healthy amount of just what seemed like filler. A lot of Us was effective. It was fun, but we'll talk about that when we get to Us.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, we're getting towards the end of this episode though. Do we have any cons?
Oh my God, I just realized we didn't even talk about cons.
No.
Shit.
Let's try and get a con each.
God damn, I'm struggling. You go first, because I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I think I would have liked this movie more. Even though I really liked Rel in the role, I would have liked it just starting more in media res and not giving him an easy out that you could see coming, because you kind of saw that Rel's character Rod. Yeah, you kind of could see that coming from a mile away, which is fine. Not everything in every movie has to be unexpected, especially in a horror movie. There are tropes for a reason. I think, but I feel like if we started with them hitting the deer, and that's kind of where we started the movie, that would have been a really good start.
Yeah, okay. I agree with you completely. Yeah, I like that. I think also, as a counterpoint to that, I do really like, and of course, like, I understand why you don't like that, because it is a little bit predictable. But having Rod come out of fucking nowhere and saving him would have been like very odd. I don't think it would have made it. You would have been like, oh, okay, so Deus Ex Machina,
you would have had to end it
friend.
differently.
Yeah. But then that would have tied into maybe the cops, find him at the end.
Yeah, and then do that ending, which is darker and more gritty, which I kind of like.
Perhaps more realistic, but this movie isn't really grounded in realism anyway. So,
no, are you kidding me?
Yeah. So. Man, for fucking cons, like, Jesus Christ, I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything.
It's a pretty perfect movie, honestly.
It's really well done. And this movie was made for $5 million, and you can't even tell.
No, you can't. And then Blumhouse was involved, and you couldn't even tell.
Yeah, right. Jesus, I don't know. I think like it was so well paced. It's like normally really that's something that I would criticize at least a little bit, is like maybe some pacing discrepancies, but even that is well done. Man, I don't know. I don't think I have any cons. I don't think I have a single con for this movie.
Yeah.
I really don't. There's usually I can find some kind of flaw, but that's it right there.
I think we did pretty well.
Yeah,
discussing this movie.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about we move on into our final segment here? Do you have any? Do you have some words, a rating, or a recommendation? I think we both know if we're gonna recommend it.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it in a while, watch it again.
Yeah,
like it's really incredible. For 5 words, I want to do a key thing, but I can't.
It doesn't have to be elaborate.
I want your eyes, man.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's a pretty solid one. Yeah, this movie's great. It's really interesting. It's not preachy, like you said. It's just generally a good movie with a good social, message. And I think that is what true storytelling is. It is a good story that doesn't make you too obviously aware of the message. And it's almost book-like in how you can discuss it and have like an intellectual conversation about it, so. Which for me is something I really like. I'm going to give this movie a 9.5 out of 10.
Damn, I love it. Man, for 5 words, I wanted to say something about the sunken place. I'm in the sunken place. There you go.
Something about the sunken place.
Something about the sunken place. There we go. Something about the sunken place. Yeah, man, I highly recommend this movie. If you haven't seen it yet.
Sunken place, sucking
Second place. More like second place. That's 6 words, but
sucking face in the sunken place. If only we could do 6 words.
It would open up like a whole new horizon. What if we do that on like For the Story 2? In the sequel.
For the story.
For the story. 5 the story.
5 the story. Damn it.
Now we do 6 words, and that's the only difference. But I highly recommend this movie. Absolutely. If you haven't seen it yet, like, go and see it, because it's gonna make you think. You'll probably think about yourself. Really, really.
It's also, where the fuck have you been living this whole time?
Seriously.
What kind of idiot wouldn't have seen this movie until his podcast made him?
Yeah, right. Why did you click on this episode if you hadn't already seen the movie? That's kind of what I'm wondering. I mean, listen to all of our stuff.
They thought it was like a threat.
Yeah, right.
They thought, like, well, hey, who the fuck does this podcast think it is? I'm not getting out. I'm going right in.
All of the dialogue in this movie is so effective. All of the acting is wonderful. All of the cinematography is great. You won't believe that this is a $5 million movie. You won't.
I can't believe it was $5 million.
And yeah, it's so good. So good. This movie gets a 10 out of 10 from me.
Ooh,
yeah,
the elusive 10.
It gets a 10.
Only shared by The Shining from Avery's perspective.
And the thing is that, like, I couldn't even think of a con. I couldn't even think of a single thing wrong with this movie.
Oh, I was reaching. Trust me, I was reaching.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say that right there. But yeah, do we have anything else before we wrap this episode up?
Tune in later this week for our review of Us.
Maybe not. It's going to be interesting. We've both already seen it, so
we kind of feel similarly, much like this movie. So I'll find something to argue about. I'm sure.
Totally. I think I'm gonna have some cons for Us. I've already got some formulating, but like
I've got
definitely some positive things too. But Us is a good movie. I want nobody to misunderstand me there. It's a good movie and I liked it.
I don't agree.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good. Then we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of effective things in that movie, I feel, for me. So that's good. We're going to have a great discussion. We're not just going to jerk another movie off.
Yeah. Oh, well, definitely not. No, I would never.
Us? No.
No. I didn't.
Too meanings.
I hate it. I think it was partially colored by the fact I had to pee the whole time.
Oh, that can ruin a movie.
can ruin a movie, and I'm just like, oh, are you really going to talk about this for 5 minutes and tell me the story? That's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting spoiler alert.
Yeah, right. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Thanks for being patient with us. We've had some crazy scheduling issues lately. It's just kind of all over the place. But we're getting back around to it. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Make sure to tune into our US episode because we will be announcing our April picks. Turn me up.
We're sorry, headphones listeners. Oh my god.
I should be a horror movie noise.
Good. Oh my god, you can make some great.
Not someone who does it professionally. Just one noise, please.
I was watching.
Check, please.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Wait, what were you watching?
I was going to talk about. I'm going to talk about it on the next episode. It's funny. I was saving for the next one. So listen to our next episode. There you go.
Yeah.
But
stinger.
Thank you guys so much for listening to us. Find us on Instagram at For The Story Podcast, or send us an email at forthestorypodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. I've been trying to use the Facebook a little bit more because it keeps giving me notifications just like, you haven't posted in 2 months.
7 years.
Tell your 84 followers, like, and it's like, okay. So
I guess
I'll do that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we'll see you guys later this week.
And we love you so much. Goodbye.
Bye. You know I can't give you the keys, right, babe?